The real reason American kids are illiterate. What schools don't want you to know. This isn't just about bad reading scores. It's about an entire generation struggling to think, understand, and communicate. We're going to look at school policy, teaching methods, curriculum choices, and the massive gaps created by technology and pandemic-era learning. If you want to understand how we got here and what needs to change immediately, this video will tell you exactly that.
Did y'all see that video of the parent-teacher conference where the teacher is telling the parents that their 13-year-old child cannot read or do math? Okay, I didn't see it either. Maybe by this point it's been taken down. But apparently in the video, the teacher is hosting a parent-teacher conference and she's letting the parents know that their child cannot read and write at grade level. The mom starts breaking down in tears. The father is saying that he's going to quit his job so that he can support his daughter. Now in the video that I seen talking about this whole situation, it was a response video. And so I'm reading through the comments and a lot of the comments were very alarming to me. People were saying things like the parents need to be investigated. They were blaming the school system for not retaining the child before she got to be 13 and couldn't read. And in general, everybody has just been pointing the finger and blaming different people. Honestly, I don't know if the video is staged or if it's even real, but it definitely highlights some important issues in education that needs to be addressed. First of all, retaining students doesn't work. Second of all, every parent does not have the skill set or the know-how to actually support their kids appropriately at home with their education.
People love to blame the pandemic for everything, and sure, it didn't help. But when you've got 24 schools in Illinois where 0 kids can read at a first grade level, that didn't happen because of one bad year. That kind of collapse takes time. It takes years of weak curriculum, watered down standards, and kids being pushed forward even when they're nowhere near ready. So, should we blame the Department of Education? Well, honestly, yeah, at least partly. They set the policies, they approve curriculum, and they're the ones who keep pretending everything's fine.
I'm absolutely crashing out over all of these videos about people talking on kids. Oh, the kids can't read. Oh, the kids are iPad kids. Oh, the kids are this, or the kids are that. 60% of American households are not surviving right now. And there's a correlation between a child being able to be present in school, learning, and their ability to eat food at home. So we're looking at kids like kids are the problem. Oh, the kids these days. It's not the kids that are the problem. And for everyone who's sitting there talking on kids, teachers, you get a pass. This is not for you. Everyone who's sitting there talking shit on these kids, what are you doing about it? When's the last time you volunteered at Boys and Girls Club? When's the last time you helped a neighbor babysit? When's the last time that you went just a little bit out of your way for a child?
Over 60% of US kids can't read at grade level. That's just not a statistic. It's a full-blown literacy crisis. If kids can't read, everything else suffers. Learning history, science, even basic problem solving. Left unchecked, this isn't just a school problem. It's a future workforce, economy, and society problem. We're talking about an entire generation being held back before they even get started.
I'm genuinely terrified for this next generation of children. I decided to work at a summer camp this year and I didn't understand the severity of the brain rot. Not only is their lingo actually terrifying, but the entitlement and genuine stupidity, and I'm sorry to call kids stupid, but like, we are not smart anymore at all, is so scary. I had kids not knowing that there were 7 continents at the age of 12. Half the kids cannot spell without asking for how to spell it or just sounding it out, which is baffling to me. And I understand that there's like some 4-year-olds that I'm like, you don't even know how to write yet, like, you're chilling. But at the age of 8 to 12, if you don't know how to spell the word exit, it's kind of scary. Next issue is the genuine entitlement that kids nowadays have. And I'm coming at this from a youngest of 5, spoiled brat, youngest daughter. Like, I got everything I wanted. I never got in trouble. And I'm saying that these kids are entitled. I had a 10-year-old boy break down, like throw a literal hissy fit for 30 minutes over one rule changing in walkie-talkie tag, being that there can be more than one person guarding the jail. It's never been like that. You're trying to make us look. Calm down. You're 10. I had to literally Urban Dictionary so many words this year, and it's so scary. There was a point where we had coaches playing this game. It was literally flip clap, but all the coaches were playing and the kids were watching. I had 30 kids chanting live cells, and I said, what does that mean? I didn't know what lives, like, I didn't know what it meant to sell. And so I asked one of the girls, I said, hey, what is lives, like, why were they chanting live cells? And they're saying, oh, you suck. And I said, okay, I guess that's fine. We were playing capture the flag the other day, and I had a kid upset with one of the calls, and he did this. He was like, dude. He was doing replay from the Euro Cup, expecting me to know what this meant. Replay. Where's the cameras? Like, where do you expect me to replay this, you falling and you're out? Like, where do you expect that? What? Like, it's so strange. The scariest part for me is watching the girls be so overly consumed about what they look like all the time. There was a 12-year-old, I love this girl to death, but oh my gosh, every day it is something about looking ugly, looking fat, not having the right skincare, or forgetting her Dior lip gloss, like pulling out makeup products out of her bag that I would not even dare to touch on expensiveness. Like, it's so, I don't mean to say concerning, but like, we have girls that are 10 to 12 years old really worrying about what they look like on the day-to-day while at summer camp. There is not a single guy for you to impress at summer camp, girl. Like, you are 12. Let's not worry about men till we're like, never. Like, don't worry about dating people until you're like in high school, dude. You are so, it's just so concerning. It's so concerning. And I know that the older generation was concerned about us, but I'm like, not to be saying that we're the exception, but we were a little bit different. I'm not gonna lie. Just a little bit.
If entire schools can't even get one child reading at grade level, that's not a pandemic problem. That's a systems problem. And it starts at the top. People working at the Department of Education get really well paid compared to teachers. But teachers still end up defending the Department of Education. It's about time that we raise our standards.
The government is absolutely building the jail cell for your kid if they don't know how to read or write by the time they're in the 3rd or 4th grade. In my last video, I got a bunch of comments like this saying that it was complete BS. So I wanted to make sure that you guys could see at least one statistic that says it's true. Kids who can't read are more likely to end up on drugs, more likely to end up in jail, and more likely to end up depressed.
One fist her, two fist her.
Are you serious?
You picked a hard one on purpose.
It's a Dr. Seuss book.
No Child Left Behind sounded good, but it turned schools into test factories. Kids were pushed through grades whether they could read or not. And now we've got 10th graders who can't read their textbooks. This isn't a student failure, it's a policy failure.
A language arts teacher is considering quitting her job because her 10th grade students don't know how to read. The New Jersey-based teacher shared in her Reddit post that the last couple of years have been very stressful, but the straw that broke the camel's back was realizing that her 10th grade students couldn't read at grade level. In fact, they could barely read at all. They were reading 2nd and 3rd grade level books like Charlotte's Web and Bridge to Terabithia. She turned to other teachers at her school for advice, but it turns out they were dealing with the same thing. In desperation, this teacher said, "I'm at a loss." Parents are mad that their kids are failing, but there's not much she can do, especially when it comes to student behavior, because students are rude, always on their phones, and destructive. She believes the issue is students lacking the desire to learn and a system and country that doesn't believe in education. For years, other countries have been outperforming the U.S. education system. Author and parenting expert John Fogel said on TikTok that school in the United States is not set up with kids in mind. The country with the global reputation for having the best education model is Finland, and it's because they put their kids first. They don't teach to tests. Teachers are given carte blanche to actually teach. Not only that, there's no homework, the school day is shorter, and there are more breaks during the day. We're to a point where the entire education system in the U.S. needs to be revamped in order for teachers and students to succeed. The kids are getting lost in the mix, and teachers suffer the collateral damage. It may seem like options are limited for parents in our current system, but parents can get involved. Vote in school board elections, get involved in state government, and join the PTA. And most importantly, do whatever you can to advocate for your kids and support your teachers.
When people say Finland is better, they're not wrong. Their system is built differently. Kids start school later, teachers are highly trained and trusted, and there's far less testing, which lets real learning happen. But it's not as simple as copying Finland. It's smaller, more culturally consistent, and has different social supports. Still, the US could learn a lot from them, especially how strong teachers and early literacy focus make a huge difference.
People are not scared enough of the fact that children can't read and that it is a real crisis here in America. And there are 4 documentaries that you need to watch immediately about the topic because over 60% of children are reading below grade level. Let's get into it. First one is called Sentenced, and I actually watched this on Peacock, and I live in the United States. Second one is called The Truth About Reading, and I, again, live in the United States and was able to watch this one on Tubi. The other one is called The Right to Read. Just look this one up and see where it's available to you. Lastly, Hopeville, How to Win the Reading Wars. Again, look this one up and see where it's available to you. Don't think enough people understand the ramifications that not being able to read fluently is going to have in years to come, but these children are falling behind in almost every aspect of their life because of the illiteracy crisis. Children not knowing or understanding or comprehending very basic sentences is going to have very detrimental effects on them, their peers, and honestly, our future, because we need these children to become our next doctors, lawyers, nurses, etc. And they simply aren't. So
the reading crisis in America isn't just about a headline. It's a human issue that affects families, teachers, and every kid who deserves a real education. If you want more honest videos about what's happening in schools, hit like, subscribe, and leave a comment about what you want me to cover next. Together, maybe we can push education in the right direction.